good to have the room starting to fill as we kick things off. So yeah, welcome everyone to a very special edition AMA we'll be hosting today. As you can see, I'm joined on stage today by LAMINA1 co-founder Rebecca Barkin, and our mysterious DL is Dinghan Low from the Open Metaverse Foundation, who you all have heard from a couple of times before as well. We're on today as the event invite, you guys might have noticed in the event invite, to announce an important update to the LAMINA1 Tokenomics Plan, which is a pretty big thing that we have to get out before we start making moves into our official go-to-market. And Rebecca's also going to be sharing new info about some partnerships, that upcoming go-to-market, and basically kind of like what we've been up to. Obviously, we've had a ton of questions from community members asking about kind of like our next phase. It's been a super exciting 6 months since we kind of TG'd and launched early mainnet onboarding for builders, creators, and supporters. And we're about to enter kind of like a big new phase in LAMINA1. Have been working super hard kind of behind the scenes to get the kind of next phase running. And so, yeah, we're here to answer a bunch of questions as we can about our status as a chain, a platform, the new creator economy we're going to be launching. And I think, without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to our co-founder, Rebecca Barkin. And yeah, she's going to provide you guys kind of an overview of some really big and important
That
updates
was
we have for
so
you guys.
Freudian. Uh, you said over.
I did.
Uh, Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. Super, super excited to be here. And a lot to say today. On a lot of different fronts. So I'm going to start with we've been out and about quite a bit lately, and we will be all the way through the fall and the early new year, talking about the platform and promoting it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about platform positioning. This was one of the things that Case had said comes up quite a bit, and there has been a bit of an adjustment in the way that we talk about it since day one. Not necessarily the long-term vision, but just in the short term, how we actually speak about it. And I wanted to talk about what that is and sort of why we went that direction. So first off, platform positioning. So LAMINA1 is positioned as a creator-owned platform and economy designed for the future of IP incubation, distribution, and monetization. We have really rallied around those three pillars. Those are things that in the last 2 years, we've spent a ton of time talking to creators, and we felt really strongly that there was a huge opportunity there. We are always going to be a metaverse company. That is our legacy. But you may have detected that kind of slight adjustment in our positioning to lean more towards broader entertainment and creator opportunities in the early days, while immersive formats are kind of still getting their footing. So I want to explain a bit why today, and this is very much you're getting kind of a similar pitch to what we talk about with our investors. So I'll start with this kind of grounding thought, which is direct from our co-founder Neil, and we use it a lot to bring us back to the core mission. So I'm just going to say it. Makers have long relied upon financiers, platform owners, and publishers to grant their ideas oxygen and provide a pathway to broad distribution and monetization. Though the introduction of new software and tools has allowed more amateur makers to enter the market, it has not tipped the model toward creators. This is squarely what I'm interested in, building a home with more favorable economics for those who create the content that we voraciously consume. That is straight from Neil. And it is kind of like something I'd put on the wall to remind us why we're here. So we go sort of where the market is. And as long as we're hitting that mission, we feel pretty good about it. So we made this adjustment in part because creation consumption habits are really changing. So, rather than existing in silos, streaming video and social media and music and gaming are all kind of weaving together into this like interconnected and interdependent tapestry. Like some interesting kind of stats there to ground us in that is, the creator economy is set to reach 480 billion in value by 2027. Gen Z is 40% of US consumers, and they have about 160 billion in spending. 54% of Gen Z want to become content creators. 70% of consumers are expecting to interact with their favorite brands and IPs. So this sort of democratization of entertainment and access to entertainment and the process of creating within it is happening right now. And traditionally, for those of you who don't have as much sort of experience in the entertainment industry specifically, I wanted to give a little bit of context about how we got to where we are. Which, if you're based, like I'm based here in LA, and a lot of my friends that are directors, cinematographers, writers, producers are out of work, and the economics are not working. The economics of touring aren't working. The economics of filmmaking, particularly in the indie market, are not working. And a lot of these creators are being asked to be multimedia in nature to begin with. So there's an aptitude there that is important as well. But I want to talk a little bit just about how we got to the point where these centralized companies kind of have traditionally held these two moats that allowed them to dictate the economy that we're all kind of suffering through as creators and IP holders. So traditionally, centralized companies have held like these two moats that secure IP ownership and really have allowed them to set the rules of the economy. Number one is distribution. So technological advancements, over the last like 20 years have dissolved that barrier, and they've really paved the way for Netflix to kind of squeeze the profits out of, let's say, like traditional filmmaking. Creation was the other kind of big moat, right? So it's really expensive to make things. Actually, over the last 20 years, the costs due to labor have gone up by about 20%. So that barrier remained really high. So traditional studios were able to kind of meet that ask. Gen AI is also, which is maturing at an incredibly fast pace, is really advancing to also help support that democratization of now creation as well. So you've got distribution as no longer being kind of a moat to protect those economics, and then creation, the cost of creation coming down as well. So with those kind of strongholds removed, we believe that ownership is the key to a new, thriving, kind of very different economic model. And there's a huge gap there. So LAMINA1 is a platform economy in the ecosystem that intends to serve that gap. On that note, we see some major opportunities emerging to accelerate growth. And like I said, we've spent the last 2 years talking to other Web3 companies that have tried to go after this market and struggled. We've talked to Web3 games, game makers that have really struggled to get established. And we've looked at like a bunch of different sort of protocol partners and integrations that on their own aren't able to really crack this market, but have really strong value. So we see consolidation and integration being major themes over the next few years as blockchain-based networks like really work to gain ground here. We certainly have the right environment to do it now. And the platform itself is going to mature to then serve very specific use cases. This was like a lot of the talk at the Avalanche Summit. It's a lot of talk on the whole, right? How do we actually put all of these protocols and integrations in a way together in a way that makes it really easy for certain use cases to thrive? So on that note, one of the things we want to talk about today is an update to our overall supply and tokenomics. So there's going to be an update issued to the tokenomics white paper. There are a few very exciting strategic mergers that are currently on our table. So as such, we recommended to the Open Metaverse Foundation to increase the cap supply from 1 billion to 1.5 billion, and they approved it last week. So this bucket is to be used for mergers. Now, I will say really importantly, we were very careful to protect the community allocation at 50% alongside that increase. So rewards are up to 750 million versus 500 million for the community. The foundation, it's important to remember too that the foundation exists to invest in development of the ecosystem. That also gets a boost, and that also goes to communities. So Dinghan will talk about that a little later, but I wanted to get that out there. If it's not used for mergers, we would consider burning it. We'll know a lot more in the next 3 weeks, but overall economics and allocations honor those original targets that we had set out, original percentages, and kind of move up alongside them. And like I said, in the coming months and years, consolidation is a major opportunity here to accelerate LAMINA1's growth and competitive edge in the market. The first of one of those mergers, which you'll hear about, we're we're going to announce in a couple of weeks is with a South Korean metaverse development company. So their expertise is in deep end, front end, mobile app development, 3D virtual universes, casual games. Not only will they amp up our dev capability in an extremely kind of cost efficient way, but it brings cash for operations, it brings expanded community, and it also is going to give us a really strong local center of excellence in Southeast Asia. So we will transition their community really thoughtfully over 2 hours over the coming months. We're super excited about that. I think it's a really amazing opportunity to get the Korea market, which is super creative, and the Asian market in general, directly involved with Lamina and give them the empowerment to actually go out and find creators at a local level too. There are 2 other mergers that are currently on the table. I can't say much about at the moment, but both are being seriously considered, as they could offer a really, a kind of major accelerant to our entertainment focus and our product development. Our partners at the foundation, specifically Dinghan, as you know, is on this call, so he's going to elaborate on that in a minute. So I want to spend a minute talking about roadmap and go-to-market strategy. We have on the go-to-market side, we have a lot of momentum. I'm sure you guys are watching the numbers, so I won't recite them in terms of growth, but we have a lot of momentum, and it's a really exciting time. We just came back from the Avalanche Summit from Venice. I'm on my way to Web Summit. A few words about that. In August, I did a 90-minute talk at the Venice Film Festival alongside the Television Academy of Arts and Sciences, their new media governor. And I wanted to do that because it's been really hard to get creators and directors, some of the most talented people out there, to consider blockchain-based platforms as the future of where they're going to incubate that IP and monetize it and distribute it. So I kind of wanted her along, her name is Christina Lee Storm. I wanted her alongside me to kind of put a stamp of credibility on the conversation. So we got together, we talked about the future of entertainment and fandom with hundreds of creators in the room. It's not an easy sell, but I've been working on it for 3 years, and this is something, this year, something felt, really markedly different. And I've said it before, I know we have competition in this space, but if you're going to build technology for creators and IP holders, you better have a network that runs real deep on the creative side. You better understand distribution, you better understand licensing, you better understand the problems of the creatives that you're trying to solve. So you can have a lot of money, but that doesn't mean that you know how to crack this market. In October, we did the Avalanche Summit, where we were the featured keynote alongside Goon and John Woo. If you guys haven't had a chance to check that out, I think the full talk is available now. We did get a round of applause, in the middle of the talk, which was really exciting and told us that the message is really, really resonating. This was a really big deal. I was in front of thousands of devs in attendance, and Avalanche really platformed us front and center. So if you get a chance, check that out. It was a huge success. We walked away with a lot of partnerships and a deeper understanding of upcoming features that are really going to make a difference for us in building the ecosystem. In November, Neil was talking at GamesBeat. On tour for class and founders to watch by the Founders Forum out of the UK. So that was really exciting. I'm headed to Lisbon next week for a fireside chat with the CEO of Infinite Reality. They raised $350 million in July of 2024. If you're not familiar with them, there's some old Magic Leap blood in there that we know. But Infinite Reality is powering kind of the next generation, they say, of commerce through kind of like no code AI and immersive technologies, where you can like stand up, let's say, like an immersive 3D website with no code. So we'll be talking with them in Lisbon, and the timing is perfect. That's all I will say. In December, we head to Africa's Startup Conference to announce a few deals there and also talk about establishing a local center of excellence, which was an invitation given to us by over 35 ministers there. So that's quite an honor. In January, we'll be on stage at CES as well. So over the next 3 months, we'll be announcing like major developments and advisors, partners. The only reason why I can't do that here is that like we lose our ability to do a press release and to get exclusives out of it. So bear with us. Creator grants should be going out like hell's fire. It took us a little while to get this all nailed, but those are going out really quickly. I think I have about 20 contracts just sitting in my inbox that I need to get out. I will just say this, I'm going to do I'm going to go into roadmap real quick, case if I have like 5 minutes to give a glance. But I will say the market conditions are very good, and we are ready to greet it. So stay tuned and be active on that front. On the roadmap, I know a lot of people have asked about this. We intend to publish it. It took a little bit of time because we have a particular partner that we wanted to make sure we were going to be able to serve in our roadmap. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this and how you should think about the product and the features and even the foundation activities as they evolve over the next 12 months. So Q4 for us is about growing the global L1 token holder network. It is about incenting quality users to make sure that we're holding value in the network, that we're staking. We're rolling out obviously the platform MVP beta, so that includes the Creator Studio, rights and royalties, kind of 1.0. Staking, we have token gated Discord channels, but it's very much about like getting going and getting to market and kind of a public launch. Q1 is about demonstrating the value of the platform, leveraging some of our really unique aspects like our original kind of IP edge. So you may have noticed that we announced through Variety a couple of months ago the Weta and Neil project that we've been developing. So in Q1, we intend to drop that and demonstrate the value of the overall network and what you can do if you connect the IP holders directly with their fans. So that will really be about driving platform engagement from both Web3 and Web2 users. We will launch Spaces 1.0. We will evolve our IP protocol and royalties enforcement, marketplace functionality, multimedia support. We're looking at stablecoin and fiat integration, and the ability to do token-gated content within the hub. We're also working really hard to try to integrate with a financing tool that allows us to have both Reg D and Reg CF combined to offer our community. That was a big piece of feedback too from the creative community. Also in Q1, from the foundation side, and I'll leave it to Dinghan if he wants to chat more about this, but the OMA community seat election we're looking at there, and then introducing kind of the OMAC and the way that it's going to function and how people are going to get elected there. Q2, if Q1 is about demonstrating, then Q2 is very much about expanding. So expanding Spaces, which is our kind of second product offering under Hub, to tentpole entertainment partners, and really demonstrating the full use case of kind of this new entertainment model. So we intend to launch the Spaces kind of private beta. We're looking at AIGC, the integration of AIGC tools there to help support co-creation and kind of co-creating with your favorite IPs. One of the things that we really need to tackle is video hosting. There are some partners that we've been evaluating that could answer there, but it is difficult from an economic standpoint. Like right now, these aren't very scalable solutions. But we know that that's really important, particularly for the partner that will be supporting in Q2. The use case really requires it. That will be also phase 2 of Artifact, the Neil and Weta project. So we're really excited about that and look forward to it. And that will roll in that co-creation capability. And then in Q3, we'll look to kind of open up what that framework is going to look like to public use, broader public use. So launching a Spaces open framework with all the proper documentation so people can use it. We're looking at moving from federated to elastic validator networks. That's something we've been talking with Avalanche quite a bit, and integrating automated licensing tools as well to enable collectibles and merch and all that kind of stuff as well. So, and then that will track alongside with the introduction of phase 3 of Artifact, the Artifact project. So, what we're trying to do here is, and I actually also in Q3, we want to do our first kind of big community project voting. So that is just kind of a glimpse of how we're aligning our strategic objectives for each quarter over the next 12 months with specific product features and partner integrations alongside what the foundation is going to do to ignite the ecosystem internationally and give the public more access to participating in the LAMINA1 ecosystem. So, in short, 2025 is ours. Thanks for bearing with us. We are really well positioned here, and I hope you guys are excited about all of the developments as we are. So I'm going to hand it over to Dinghan to talk a little bit more about what that inflated supply means and how the tokenomics are going to work.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca. As you can see, the chat is on fire right now with a million questions about the details of the tokenomics updates and what's happening to allocate to community allocations and what the details are about the supply. So really happy to have you on, Dinghan, to kind of overview some more of the details and the brass tacks of this big tokenomics change that Rebecca introduced. Want to dive in?
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Ivy. So, yeah, as Rebecca mentioned, we are increasing the total supply of LAMINA1 token from 1 billion to 1.5. The reason behind that, as Rebecca mentioned, is we are seeing great opportunities in this market for consolidations for other projects. So we are working very actively to a few potential acquisition targets. And of course, that costs money and that costs tokens. So that's a major reason we are increasing the total number of tokens there. I saw some questions in the chat about how about the community parts, right? So we are keeping the RL1, which is mainly for the community's staking creators, as 750 million tokens, which is exactly the same as before, like 50% of the total token supply. So that has no change. That's our long-term commitment to the creator, to the community. So the other 250 million tokens will be used for acquisitions to the counterparties in the next few months, and so that's the overall plan and logic behind this increase of token supply. And yeah, so I think that's a high-level overview about the token supply, and we have I saw some people asking about the community airdrop, community incentives there. So we are going to have more airdrops in the next few weeks in different formats. There will be NFTs, there will be liquid tokens. Airdrops coming up, so that's something we are actively working on. So stay tuned, and we'll be making announcements shortly in the next few weeks. And I think that's all I will do.
Oh, sorry, you broke up at the end there a little bit. I think one thing that might be super useful for the community is obviously this expanded supply. We talked a little bit about how we were kind of upping the community percentage and making sure that the community still is holding a large amount of tokens, but how will this expanded supply sort of benefit the community and help kind of support long-term project goals? I think maybe kind of diving a little bit deeper into that and the reason for the timing and the some of the details of that would be really appreciated in this AMA.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Do you want to go, Dinghan?
Oh, go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that comes back to the fact that we are a capped supply. And so what we saw were a lot of opportunities to take advantage of other projects who had made really great things. Either they had big communities or they had a really strong product advancement, and it could help accelerate the growth of this community. And I don't think it needs to be repeated that the more that you grow the community, the more value that LAMINA1 has overall. So it's really important for us to leverage, like any other sort of, ecosystem that's growing. How do we attract great projects? How do we amplify the community, grow the community, and get the right type of community on board? And that takes
Mhm.
tokens to transition those communities and transition their investors. That's the truth. So we had to look at our supply and say, well, we don't want to cut back on anything we were investing in community. We don't want to cut back on rewards. So where does that come from? So we inflated because we had one chance to do it. And that
Mhm.
is what we will have to work with in order to grow the company over the next 20 years. And like a lot of Web3 projects, I realize people want faster unlocks. They want they want the projects to move faster. They want us to tell you exactly when we're going to list, but we're very much committed to doing this and for long-term value for the whole ecosystem. And there are a lot of things we've learned watching other projects not do it right. So I know everybody has their opinions, but you've invested your time here and you have to trust that this team has put so much heart and soul and work and research into doing this in a way that we felt would give you all the best value. So I'm asking a little bit for your trust here, that this is all really well considered and protective of the community. I mean, the community is top of mind in every conversation that we talk about. How do we keep you guys incentivized? How do we keep you excited for the possibility of it? So none of this is sort of haphazard. It is all focused on how we grow the overall value of the network and we accelerate our competitive advantage. Because as someone pointed out in the chat, there are people that have raised $140 million. We didn't. We raised 9 million. And we did it with 9 million. And we're getting to market faster. So think about that. You placed your bets correctly.
100%. Yeah. I mean, so regarding the kind of increase, is this going to be a gradual release of new tokens into the L1 economy, or will this happen all at once? I think Killen asked kind of a question on just like, what even is like the process of increasing a token supply on the back end in the first place? It's definitely been super interesting, I guess, on the inside navigating that.
Yeah. So
Dinghan,
yep. Can you hear
thank
me?
you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just to add on a little bit on what Rebecca said just now. So the decision to actually increase the supply is also considering about our community and trying to protect like our active community members, right? So that's why we are increasing like the RL1 rewards from 500 million to 750 million in total, because like during this kind of consolidations, we will have like new community members from other projects. We will have like they may have like even bigger communities than us. So increasing like the RL1 rewards, which imply to the creator grants to the staking rewards, will give like more tokens actually to a bigger community in the future. That's also one of the reasons why we are increasing like the total supply, so that we have the extra tokens to allocate to our existing communities, especially the existing token holders through airdrops, because like the active community like got tokens through airdrop are the first one who will be able to stake the tokens from day one and earn extra tokens through the RL1 staking. So that's overall purpose. In terms of like the backside, how do we increase that? It's like a very I guess that's a very technical question. I think our CTO will probably can disclose that at some point of time. In terms of the release, yes, it's going to be gradual release. As you can see, like all those tokens are going to be in the form of LL1 and RL1. So RL1 is going to be released gradually, and LL1 will be even have a longer lockup periods and release like in a longer time horizon. And this is also related to some of the question in the chat, like why 5% L1 release rate? It's actually, we deliver this, it's not a fixed rate, right? So if you read the white paper previously, there's a committee called OMA, which will adjust the rate based on the market dynamics, based on the demand and supply. We don't want to flood the market, and nobody here wants to see like oversupply tokens. So we will that committee will be able to to decide like the market condition and to adjust the rate on quarterly basis, which is like the best for best for the whole community. And we are not only locking up like community or airdrop, like we are like having this rate like 5% rates across the universe. Like everyone is going to have that. Like the team member and investor will even have longer like lockup period than the community members and the creators. So that's the overall like overall plan about the release of our tokens.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. And I guess my last question, we kind of discussed this, and I think this is an important point to bring up, but like what protections are kind of in place? We've got a lot of anxiety around like potential dilution or, what this token supply will mean for current token holders, folks who are holding a bunch of LL1 tokens from their airdrops and stuff like that. Could you go into that a little bit more for us, Dinghan?
Yeah, as I say, like it's not a dilution, right? So it happens in the traditional Web2 acquisitions as well for the equities. So there's new, if we're like once we finish like those consolidation acquisitions, there will be new value injected to the project. So it's not so the overall project value goes higher. So it's not a dilution. And also for the existing airdrop token holders through Habinia or through the ADP, they're again, I think I mentioned just now, we are allocating extra tokens to the RL1. We increased that from 500 million to 750 million tokens, which means like the staking rewards is going to be higher. So anyone who got a token from day one will be able to stake and gets more token in return. And there are only very few people or very few tokens out there. So like, and I believe our community has like all those tokens. Like no team member, no investors are able to stake on day one. So we are protecting our community members from that perspective.
Awesome. Yeah, I think just as a reminder to everyone in the chat, we're going to be releasing the new 3.0 version of this white paper in the governance white paper channel directly after this AMA. So you can definitely go through the numbers themselves. You'll definitely see that there's some new information about like those vesting periods for team and investors. We've gone over those verbally in AMAs before, but now they've made their way into the paper. We also have a bunch more details about like the percentages that the team versus investors versus community are getting. We've heard a bunch of your requests for that. So there is a bunch of new info again that you guys can kind of dive into in depth. We're definitely going to put that in that channel for public commentary, gather more questions. We're happy to hop on, after you guys have digested that for like another sort of town hall or kind of questions and stuff like that. So, I mean, definitely appreciate your stuff. Feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat. But yeah, I mean, just stay tuned for the paper. Again, we're going to drop it right after this AMA. I do think like in terms of some follow-up questions regarding governance and stuff, so we talked about the expansion of the token supply, but there's also a lot of folks who've been chatting in the governance channel over the last couple of weeks since like our last July update, who are kind of asking about like, when can we expect updates on how like voting, the OMA, and the OMAC will work in the context of LAMINA1 governance and tokenomics? So we know we're expanding the token supply, but last time around, we didn't really too much information on voting. And we do have a couple of like new updates to the paper kind of that. I'm wondering, Dinghan, if you could kind of overview kind of our next steps for voting and elections that we also kind of discussed when getting this latest draft out. Give people a sneak peek here.
Yeah, so as I think Rebecca mentioned a little bit about the voting. So we're trying to turn on the voting in next year Q1. So first we'll be voting on the Open Metaverse Monetary Authority seats. There will be 2 seats available for the community vote. I think one is in Q1 and one is later the next year. So that like by that time, like we should have the voting model turn on, and then after that we'll do an election or voting on the Open Metaverse Art Council to have a couple of community members to participate in that committee to give grants to support the creators from there. So that's in our roadmap, and yeah, that's something in Q1 and Q2 next year. And before that, I think as everyone mentioned this in the chat, I saw like the first thing that we will do in this year is to turn on the staking of LAMINA1 token in the next few weeks. And stabilize the network for the staking, and then turn on the votings.
Yeah, and staking and token unlocks are going to go live the same time, right, Dinghan?
What do you mean by token unlock?
The unlocks for LO1, the tokens that are currently sitting. Yeah. So if anyone's listening between the lines right now, staking token unlocks, there's going to be some big economic movement within the next couple of weeks. I'll let you guys draw your conclusions from that. Got another good question, I think, about airdrop stuff is, so obviously we've been pulling from a pool of about 32.5 million tokens for sort of our early pre-token launch allocations. Once that full allocation is distributed to the community, so we're starting to kind of like use up that extra 8.5 million for Hubmania. From like what kind of token source will upcoming airdrops take place? Do we have like a larger community pool beyond that 32.5 million?
Yeah, we do, and it's in the white paper. So overall, we allocate like 90 million tokens for the airdrops, so there will still be a lot of airdrops along the way. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this call, we'll do more airdrops in the next couple weeks, including like liquid L1 airdrops through different channels, through different activities and campaigns. So I think Ivy is going to make announcements, and also our partners is going to make some announcements there. So, but you will be able to see all those airdrop events through our social media channels.
Yeah, we definitely had some top testers earlier today see some sort of like liquid drop testing that we're doing on the network. Gotta love blockchain and the transparency, but yeah, I think, definitely stay tuned. We've got that sort of new airdrop pool again is detailed in the white paper, but we definitely have more than just that 32.5 million allocation for the next few months. And yeah, upcoming airdrops, not just LL1, but we've got some liquid drops coming up soon as well. Really excited again to kind of like get this next phase of the economy up and running so we can do more of that kind of stuff with you guys. Awesome. So Rebecca, I'm actually going to bring our last couple of questions back to you, kind of expand out again towards the big picture. Again, we can really get in the weeds, I think, this week, early next, into the exact kind of numbers and details of the white paper once I launch that on the channel. But I think in general, like Rebecca, how can community members prepare for the upcoming L1 go-to-market? Where should they be looking? What can they be doing instead of just repeatedly asking us one listing over and over again? Oh no, she dropped off. Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. I'll answer this question. I think in general, as Rebecca was kind of saying in the chat a couple of times, in general, when it comes to announcements of listing or exchanges, the exchanges make those announcements themselves. So I'd say, as always, as our moderators are telling you guys, stay tuned on the announcements channels. We'll definitely be making a big update when the date happens, but it's not going to be our announcement to make. I think folks who are familiar with the Web3 world kind of understand we are a US-based company. We have to be kind of careful about how we talk and message this kind of stuff. But I think in general, basically just keep a really close eye out for our news on when we're launching staking and token unlocks. There's going to be a lot of things that kind of happen around those two things that will, again, kind of like signal the upcoming launch of the LAMINA1 economy. So again, stay tuned on our announcements channel for that kind of a stuff. And for everyone who's spreading false rumors that it's not going to happen till 2025, that's completely incorrect. It's going to be within the next few weeks. So,
You guys
yeah.
hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. You dropped off. I was saving you time.
I mean, look,
Um,
I'm like more than happy to have a conversation with the community and do an AMA. If some of you are founders or you're interested in this kind of thing, I'm more than happy to have a conversation about how funding and valuation and compliance and all these things work.
mhm.
Uh, but I think like it's just not it's not necessarily helpful like on the side to keep asking the same question over and over again. Like uh we are, I think, operationally one of the most sort of excellent companies in all of Web3, and I think we've got a hell of a community to boot that's more engaged than most of the other communities in Web3. So I'm really proud of what we're doing. I know it's been a while and it's been a wait, but I think the next 6 to 12 months are going to be a hell of a time. That's why, I said 2025 is ours. So, be respectful of one another. Everybody here has like taken a lot of hits to work really, really hard to bring this to life. So
Amazing. We really appreciate you coming on, Rebecca and Dinghan. Again, stay tuned in the governance white paper channel. I'm going to be dropping the draft in there ASAP after this. I'll also be releasing a recording of this AMA for you guys to kind of listen into, and like a little post that just kind of overviews a bunch of the big announcements that the team just made here. But I think in general, I mean, next steps, again, review the white paper and the kind of updated numbers that we're going to be releasing. If you haven't claimed your Hubmania airdrop yet, if you were active within the community, basically between our May launch and, kind of like October-ish, you definitely should be eligible for community and platform rewards. So make sure that you do that. You're going to want those tokens in your cash for, when staking and unlocks start hitting the platform. And I think in general too, next week I'm going to be releasing some updated staking guides, just again, so that you guys can get familiar with the L1 staking system. We had over 1,000 community members participate in our staking playtests. That will probably, be able to help kind of like walk you through the process and stuff. But that's going to be a really big kind of component, big thing that we're going to be launching soon. And yeah, again, just stay tuned on Discord, Twitter, Telegram for updates, activations, rewards ups, etc. Especially for our Telegram followers, you guys know that the foundation's been cooking up some really fun stuff and airdrops and exciting things that are going to be kind of launching around this kind of next big economy news. So definitely stay tuned there. Feel free to drop questions, commentary, etc. into the governance white paper channel, especially following this big news drop. And yeah, we'll have a bunch more AMAs as well. I want to do another one on product updates and roadmap. Rebecca gave you a sneak peek, but we're going to be publishing that pretty soon. And then, yeah, we're happy to kind of deep dive into, with Rebecca into a bunch of the kind of like really interesting stuff that she works on every day with compliance and what it's like to launch a blockchain in a really interesting and very rapidly changing environment. So as always, keep your eyes peeled out there, keep building. This is a super exciting time. We definitely hear you. We're definitely taking into account all of your questions and comments and all of that. And we just really appreciate you guys and how active and passionate you guys are about this project. Thank you all so much. We're going to hop off and, I'll be in the feeds all day so we can chat more there. Thanks so much.